abused, but when she told you you was going to get a whipping, you'd get it. It wasn't like a lot of mamas today that threaten and never do anything about it, and the kid knows they're not going to get discipline. They'll just keep doing whatever they want to do. But when Mama told us we'd get a whipping, we'd get it, but it wouldn't be, she didn't abuse us and beat us to death and all like that, right. Mistreat us, because she wasn't a person to show affection like a lot of people. She didn't hug us and kiss us and make on over us like that, but she worked to give us everything. She sewed and cooked and worked to give us the right, what we needed. And she could, we had as much as anybody else. We weren't poor, but we weren't rich, but we had enough to a good living. And Mama had a good education. My daddy didn't have as good an education as my mama, but now, at one time, when we came over here from Middle Tennessee, we came in February in 1917, and there was the weather was bad for some reason. I don't remember whether. I know we had a flood, and the water got up. All that was before the dam was built, and the water got all up and everything. But what was it? Something happened to the teacher at school. I believe they called into service. The principal up here at the school, they taught then. They went through the 8th grade, and I know we come over here in February, and I don't know how they knew, but Mama finished out some of the school year.
Really?
Because she was educated enough she could.
Huh. I didn't know that. Was that the only time she taught?
Yeah, that was the only time she taught. But then, well, she worked different places, and then at one time, I guess when she had to retire, she was working. It was called the Vine Street Orphanage. It was an orphan's home on Vine Street, which is now the little Miss Magday Nursery, and it's still in town, but it's there by the Walnut Street Bridge. Now, this was down on the South Broad when she worked there. But
what did she do there?
Well, she helped take care of the children. No, Mama had a good education. She never went to college back then, but when you went through the 8th grade, you had what would be equivalent to a college education now, but it's in a different thing. It was, like they said, the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. You got your education in English and physiology and history and things like that. Where now then the emphasis on education, a lot of it's sports and different things, it's different. Mama had a good education, but she just, I reckon, went through the 8th grade. I don't remember ever hearing her say she never went to college. Of course, back then, and even when Genevieve was growing up, they didn't go to college. They got out of high school. They took a business course, Edmondson business course, and that was equivalent. You took typing and shorthand and all that, and you was able to get a good job you went to business college and graduated, and it's. I started the third year of high school, and my dad got out of work, and then there was my sisters, 3 younger than me, that I thought I had to help Mama, and I had to quit. I quit school and went to work to help Mama, and then my dad got out of work, and so I never got to finish. I started the third year high schooling, but I didn't get to finish it.
No.
At the knitting mill,
Mm-hmm.
on vacations, I worked 2 vacations at the mill, and back then you had to get a permit, and you could work it when you was 15. And you had to get a work permit, and I worked at the mill.
How long did you work at the mill?
Oh, I worked at the mill 20-something years.
Really?
Well, when I started to work there, they made long leg, long sleeve underwear, and I folded, and it started in the knitting mill down there. They had they knit their cloth, and then they had their, called the bleachery, and it was bleached and all, and then processed, and then went to the cutting room, and they had these big tables that the rolls of cloth was rolled out on the tables, and they had electric knives that they stacked it up. I don't know how to. When it come from the bleachery into the cutting room, it was all machinery. Of course, there's one machinery. There's on big tables, and they'd put layers of the cloth, and then they had the electric knives that they had to call the cutting room, and there was men and women worked there. That was a big thing then. The Signal Knitting Mill was a big business for the Chattanooga. Chattanooga used to be known for textile and all kinds of manufacturing, and then it was cut and processed and went to the sewing room, and every detail was. It was a seamstress that put the cuffs on the underwear and the collar on the cuff and the button. There's another operator put the buttons in the buttonholes. Everybody had a different operation, and it passed from one machine to the other, and it was put in bundles of 12. And it had what they call tickets on it, and each operator would cut her ticket off and paste it on a book to show that that's how we got our money. That way was how in sewing. And there's somebody that put buttons on, somebody put buttonholes, and somebody put collars, and everything. Everybody done a different operation. It went to a different machine, and it was we called them cases. There's big I can't think of the word to use. Wasn't like a big box, but it was would hold most everything. Come in 12 or 24 dozen to a case. It was in bundles of 12, and each operator would do certain thing, and then they'd push that on to the next one. They'd do something, and they'd push that on to the next. They'd do something. But I was folder, and I folded, and everybody had a little ticket you cut off and pasted on a book to show what you had done, and that is the way we was paid, by the number of things that we done, the tickets we had.
Wow. Did you fold the entire time?
But I folded, and then I was later made forelady over the boxing department, and was responsible for a group of people under me.
Mm-hmm.
But and when I quit to retire, well, I didn't retire, but I quit that after I married and things got like they did. I was forelady, what they call forelady, in the boxing room where it was shipped out, and
Yeah.
was promoted to forelady, and I was over the boxing department and the shipping department. Well, I'd always have a housekeeper, because my husband was working in and I was working, and we had a housekeeper that stayed with us
Okay.
all the time. We had most of the time we had a woman named Nelly, and she was a redheaded. Well, she wasn't redheaded, but she kept her hair dyed red because somehow in the earlier years there'd been some killing done, and I don't remember why, but she kept her hair dyed red, or dyed she didn't want people to know who she was, or well, I can't think of the word to use, but her name was Nelly somebody, but she was a wonderful person. She stayed with me day and night and kept the children, and I worked. I don't remember now what it was that something had done that she kept her hair dyed.
Had she
disguised herself,
Yeah.
She was afraid. I know she was always afraid. We had what they call a wood pile then. Everybody had a wood pile and hadn't left the axe out at the wood pile, And she'd always bring the axe in at night because she was afraid whatever had happened in her life before, that they'd find her in. I don't remember now just what it was, but anyway, I know she'd always bring the axe in at night. She had relatives around that I knew that somehow that I found out about her, that she kept my children, but she stayed there day and night.